Right, it's time now for stories that are trending now, and Olamide Odekunle is standing by to bring us up to speed. Olamide?
Hello again, team. Now, I was going to tell TJ to forget about it. This is the last time you'll be seeing Eshomomo because we're not sending him back. And I'm so happy you're here in person, Eshomomo, so I can give you my gist in person. Shall we have a look at what's trending now?
All right.
Let's jump right in.
Take it.
Good morning, Nigeria. I like to say that TVC has a finger on the pulse and our eyes on the streets. And here, on the Trending Now segment, my team and I do our best, and it's our absolute pleasure to bring you some of the trending stories that are shaping the world that you and I live in. We begin today in matters of security, where Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff has stirred a debate after defending the rehabilitation of repentant Boko Haram fighters under the military's Operation Safe Corridor program. Speaking in Abuja, the top general argued that many of the fighters, especially low-level operatives, should be given a chance to repent and reintegrated back into society rather than face outright rejection. These were his remarks.
But even in the Bible, we heard about the prodigal son. If there was not that window for the man to come back, would he have come back? So the point is that these are Nigerians, mostly. And it's important for us to give them that window to repent if they want to, rather than pushing them to the extreme to say, okay, it's either we kill you or you continue with the adventure. I think it's important for us to make people understand, especially in the National Assembly, because as we speak now, everything about safe corridor has been driven by defense headquarters. And there's no part of
Now, the Operation Safe Corridor program was launched in 2016, and it was designed to de-radicalize and reintegrate former insurgents who surrender under military pressure, even as operations continue against high-ranking commanders. But his remarks have now triggered a backlash online, and many people are questioning the fairness of the concept of reintegrating former fighters, while victims and affected communities continue to deal with the consequences of insurgency. As usual, we've got to have a look at what you had to say on social media. Soludo says, the debt owed to the fallen. The primary argument against this soft landing approach is the sanctity of the lives already lost. To label individuals who have orchestrated massacres, beheadings, and suicide bombings as merely prodigal trivializes the finality of death. The soldiers, thousands of gallant men and women in uniform have died in the line of duty. Softening the stance on their killers feels like an insult to their sacrifice. Tejudu says, this is why military men keep dying. To these people, the life of men in the military who kept getting ambushed isn't as valuable to the lives of their prodigal sons. Just know this doesn't make sense, and there's a lot they aren't telling the public. Also, be aware that this statement is the reason you keep hearing of military men being ambushed occasionally. They are informants in the military, giving their locations away. And apparently, they're in the top hierarchy. Yeah, and finally, Ojo Abdulaziz says, it's not everything that we attack the government on, even though I don't support leaving them. But the reality is that these guys are too many to fight. The government is just trying a more effective way to stop or to reduce them. And many Nigerians argue, team, that we are long past a peaceful approach with these terrorists, especially in the recent methods of insecurity. I mean, they are burning places down, burning people alive. There are beheadings and massacres. I don't think the prodigal son was killing his fellow family members, team. I don't think he did that. He went away and caused wahala and came back.
As I said earlier, this is one suggestion that I do not support. Those guys have been radicalized, that they've had opportunity to kill, maim, and abduct, and do all sorts of things, get ransom and still kill the person, and so on and so forth. It doesn't sound right for anybody to suggest that, look, let's give them, maybe as a strategy, military strategy, you tell them, drop your arms, we'll forgive you, and so on and so forth. The one we did before, how successful was it? So why should that suggestion come? And it's quite interesting that it's an army general that came up with this suggestion.
The bottom line for me for this conversation is the fact that people who are non-state actors have to be held accountable for their actions. I mean, families displaced, people killed, families losing children, generations gone as a result of their activities. People have lost livelihood, and then this is what you say. Well, how about those who were victims or who are victims of their actions? How are you also helping to cushion the effect of the activities of these non-state actors on their lives? Go to the various camps that these persons are kept, and you see the state at which it is. Some of them cannot go back or return back to their homes as a result of these activities. There has to be accountability, bottom line for me. And this conversation, I'm not satisfied with it.
I think as leaders, we must be very careful of statements we make because they are impactful. Even if it's a personal opinion, like I think that what he just said is a personal opinion. We have laws in the country, and the laws is that if you commit a crime, you are punished for it. After the punishment, that you talk of rehabilitation. That's why we have the correctional service. After the punishment, then you have rehabilitation. You won't say who committed a crime should not be punished. And first of all, we must also look at justice for victims and justice for the military men. Just the other day, some military personnel were ambushed. What would it look like after you arrest those who carried out this act of injustice, ambushing military personnel, and you decide that you want to rehabilitate them? Are we kind of dampening the morale of the fighting men on the field? I think we should be very careful with statements we make.
Momo, I have to say, a very poignant statement there. Instead of focusing on the protection or the rehabilitation of these people, we should focus on the victims and getting justice for them. Thank you for that observation. Moving on into the east, in Awka, Anambra State yesterday, it wasn't business as usual. Governor Soludo showed up unannounced at the Anambra State Secretariat, walking through offices to see for himself firsthand how the machinery of his state really works. And he found a mixed picture, unfortunately. Some desks were busy, others were empty. Some staff were fully engaged, while others were nowhere to be found. And by 10 o'clock, the governor had seen enough. He then ordered that any civil servant absent at that hour should be suspended. Governor Soludo described what he witnessed as the good, the bad, and the ugly. He did praise those, however, who remained diligent, but he warned that the culture of lateness and complacency must end. Have a look at his visit.
Nobody here. I mean, I'm talking about after 10 in the morning. After 10 in the morning, and they're not yet on seat. 4 of them not yet on seat. Let's go. Where are the other 3? They have not got into the office. What you do is to turn those chairs down. That's part of the shipping out that will have to go. Those who haven't come, we're going to shut them off for the remainder of this year. And they will have to go.
Governor Soludo also told his employees that his administration is now repositioning the workforce to build a more efficient, a more accountable public service. And for those that aren't meeting these expectations, his message was blunt: align with my mission or step aside, or maybe even face suspension. Let's have a look at social media. Governor Soludo popped out. They never saw that coming. Celestine Nelson says, go to all the local government offices. You will think that there is a lockdown going on in Nigeria. Government job is now a side hustle to some people. Ghost workers on payrolls, no efficiency, no accountability. Some of them overstayed in office and one role, and the head of the civil service needs to sanitize this sector. And SMG Empire says, just look at the office that he unexpectedly visited. No electricity, not even basic air conditioning, and the building looks outdated for a state government facility. You have failed us. And finally, Hussein Kabal says, state governments must do better. The office environment looks shabby. Also, work ethics work in tandem with incentives. Give them a decent pay, conducive work environment, and good standards of living. If state governments provide this and work ethics aren't met, then you deal with defaulters. I can't imagine my boss tuning into this station this morning and not seeing me standing here. I would also face a suspension. But that aside, let's focus on more serious matters. The civil service is the operational backbone of the government. If the civil servants are not at their desk, it means that papers are being stalled, deals are not being signed. It means that there is red tape happening in the state, in all departments. It's very, very important that our ministries, our departments, and our agencies are on seat to help Nigerians move things along.
I was a civil servant for 14 years.
Really?
Yes, the complacency in the civil service is almost endemic. You know, so when a governor pays a surprise visit like this, you know, he is trying to change that mentality. Things move in snail pace in the civil service because of things like this. The phrase you hear mostly is, he is not on seat.
Yep.
This one is not on seat, and so on and so forth. So bottom line is, I support what he's doing. He needs a vibrant civil service for him to succeed as the leader of that administration. And surprise visits like this, a very good way of actually picking out the bad eggs from the service. So I support what he's done.
Well, this is nothing new to me because we've seen several governors do this surprise visit and it doesn't change anything. It begins with a mindset change towards the work you do. If you know you are to serve people, if you know you have a job to do, why not just go there? Again, the environment may not be conducive. Are they looking at remote work? Can they even do remote work with the state of things and equipment that they have there and that they are using for this work? I think that the state government needs to improve the situation of their offices. And then, like someone said, you can't begin to say, okay, we have given you everything you need to be convenient for you as you work, but then if you are not delivering, then we begin to ask questions. But then civil service, what have we been doing at improving civil service as a country? We need to begin with a mindset change. This happens across all the states. And so we need to look at how we can change that from the mind first so that people can begin to take their works seriously or their jobs seriously.
Now, this visit is just the normal ritual governors carry out in the course of their service to the people, and it happens across all the states in Nigeria. But does it impact on the system? No, it does not impact on the system because a one-off visit to offices cannot change the issue. And I think that our governors, our legislators should see how we have an effective civil service reform. Even though the Labour Congress are always fight for civil servants, we need to have a civil service that can compete with other civil service across the world. What we have in Nigeria is far from it. Because you enter offices and you see office space the way it is, no computers and all that. Is that the kind of civil service we want to service Nigeria? I think it's a challenge to our leaders that we should turn the table around and make sure that we have the kind of civil service we really desire if we want the kind of change we really want in the country. Absolutely.
This is time for an urgent reform within the civil service. My producer just said in my ear that some civil service are even business owners within that office. It's actually their own personal office. But absolutely a restructuring of the Nigerian civil service. Thank you so much for your input, team. Moving on into the world of social media, a video filmed at Abuja's airport is igniting a national debate about accessibility and respect for passengers of all body types. It shows a young lady, Dorothy Osaronu, a woman with zero mobility, being carried off an Air Peace aircraft by airline staff. In her post, she thanked the crew for their help and she expressed gratitude, but she also did highlight the daily struggles of traveling with a disability. Online, Nigerians have praised the kindness of the staff, but others have raised concern over the lack of proper equipment for passengers who can't walk. And for many, this moment has become more than a viral clip. It's also exposing how infrastructure, training, and public attitudes all need to evolve to make air travel safe and dignified for every passenger without exception. Let's have a look at social media. Adewale Yusuf says, this is a wake-up call, not just content for laughs. In 2026, no hoist or proper equipment, just manual lifting like it's still the 1990s. The staff are risking their backs. The passenger's dignity is on the line, and the plane might even have weight balance issues. Health talk is not body shaming. Nigeria's adult obesity rate is climbing up around 14%, and the combination of junk food and lack of exercise is creating stress for everyone. Eat well, take walks, protect your health. And finally, Ben Samuel says, I have a few problems with this video. It's humiliating and illegal to film a passenger like this and put it online. In 2026, no passenger should be lifted by hand this way. It violates their dignity and endangers the staff carrying her. They clearly didn't think about their own backs either. Sensible airlines have safer systems like hoists to assist larger passengers without manual lifting. But in Nigeria, this is hardly surprising. Now, team, unfortunately, online, this story started out as a goodwill and a commendation of the airline, saying this is how you give, zero mobility passengers accessibility and make traveling equitable and easy for them. But it slowly turned into a conversation about body image and about the woman being of a larger denomination, if you will, and why that should be nobody else's problem. Etoma, on what side of the spectrum are you on this?
First of all, I want to commend you for the larger denomination that
yes.
you used. I like that a lot. And I also want to connect this story with the previous story of the civil servants in Anambra State or thereabout. We have the FAA, If there's a regulation that provisions for people living with disabilities that are going to fly is compulsory in every airport, we wouldn't have scenes like this. These guys carried her out of compassion. Fantastic, it's good. But if we had equipment that could help her go into the aircraft without all these, how do I call it? All these razzmatazz, wouldn't it have been better? So we need an oversight from FAA for things like this. Same thing with the civil service. We have the Civil Service Commission. How well are they doing their jobs?
It's not safe to carry people in this manner because anything could happen to any part of their body as it is. So I would advise, I would admonish that they get equipment that would help carry people like this in a way, the equipment needed actually to carry them properly, so that they do not get any form of injury internally, especially. But she was commending them for their effort. That was what it was. I'm sure she allowed them film her. And that's
she also posted on her social media as well.
Very good. So she put it out there to commend them and not to condemn them or their effort. So we commended their effort, but they must be trained on how to carry such kinds of persons and have the right equipment that would aid them in carrying her. So these kinds of persons don't get injured at the end of the day.
Yeah, airline business is not local business, it's an international business. So when we do things, we should also always remember that it's not just about Nigeria. We'll play in the global circle. And is this how it will be done elsewhere? And I think the appropriate authorities should also sit up and ensure that, like my colleague said, that we do things properly. Yeah, commendable they're helping her out, but also in the eyes of the global community, is this the right way to help somebody that's living with such challenge?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your input, team. Thank you so much, team.